What is going on, YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today we are bringing Kyurem White and Ninetales to the Regulation G ranked ladder. We are going to be applying some hot and cold to our opponents here because we have Terra Fire, Fusion Flare, Kyurem White alongside Choice Specs to be doing some major damage on the heat side. And then on the frosty side, we got Blizzard to take advantage of the fact that it becomes 100% accurate in the snow. And it's a nice stab option for Kyurem White. And on top of that, we have Freeze Dry to hit those pesky water types that would otherwise resist our Blizzard and Fusion Flare. And to round out the moveset, we have Draco Meteor just to drop some bombs on our opponents here. So that is Kyurem White in a nutshell. We have Aurora Veil on a lowland Ninetales here to provide some screen support and reduce the amount of damage we take from both physical and special attacks, which Kyurem White is definitely going to appreciate since Snow does give Ice types a 50% boost to their defense stat, and Kyurem White's special defense is pretty decent to begin with, so Kyurem's going to have some nice bulk thanks to Ninetales' Aurora Veil. We have Icy Wind to slow down our opponents as well. And then if we want to make something just really hurt, we have the Helping Hand on Ninetales as well to just boost up any of its partners' attacks by 50%. We have Tornadus here with Air Slash for our flying type coverage. We have Tailwind for some speed control. We have Taunt to shut down some setup sweepers or potentially deny some trick rooms. I don't know. We might get it. And then finally, we have Snowscape on Tornadus, which is a wild move that Tornadus has because we can just override the weather and bring snow. If we're worried about maybe, say, a slower weather setter coming out and disrupting Ninetales' snow, we could just lead Tornadus instead. If we have, like, say, a Torkoal or a Pelipper come to the field and set their sun or rain, because of the way how speed dynamics work, the slower weather setter gets to keep its weather. Well, we can just use Tornadus turn 1 with Prankster Snowscape to just give us back the snow. That's going to be fun. We have Urshifu Rapid Strike here to just do some big damage with Terra Water Surging Strikes. We have Close Combat. If we are worried about terrain, whether it be Psychic or Grassy terrain, we can always remove it with Ice Spinner as well. And that plus that gives Urshifu a little bit of a means of hitting flying type opponents for some super effective damage. And then we have Ogerpon Hearthflame and Rillaboom rounding out the team. And I'm experimenting here with this Ogerpon because we have the Terra Fire IV Cudgel at our disposal to just do some raw damage from Embody Aspect's attack boost from Terastallizing. We can also run the Grassy Glide next to Rillaboom, and now Ogerpon has a little bit of priority at its disposal, which Kyogres do not appreciate, especially if they do not Terra away from the water typing. So we do have that with the Ogerpon, and we do have Follow Me here for a little bit of redirection in case we need it. I was experimenting earlier, and I did have Knockoff on there, so you might hear me say that at least once in the video. But anyways, that's the main thing for Ogerpon, and then we have Assault Vested Rillaboom with Grassy Glide, Fake Out, Knockoff, and High Horsepower. If we run into Miraidon or any bulky Steel type, I do at least have the High Horsepower to do some damage to them. And plus, we have Knockoff to remove some items, and Grassy Glide can finish some things off. So that's the team in a nutshell. Let's get into the battle, shall we? Alright, we have a Calyrex Ice Rider team with Ogerpon, Gothitelle, Urshifu, Rhyperior. Rhyperior is pretty cool. And Incineroar. So, not the greatest for my Kyurem, but I do have Terra Fire on this thing, so I can resist Glacial Lance. Unfortunately, that does make me weak to High Horsepower, but we'll deal with that when we deal with it. Kyurem Ninetales might be alright. I don't mind getting up the Aurora Veil. Now, Urshifu might be really good here as well for dealing with the Incineroar. I think what we'll do is we'll lead Ogerpon Ninetales. We'll bring Kyurem in the back. And honestly, I think Rillaboom might be, well, I don't know how I feel about Rillaboom, to be honest. Yeah. Maybe Urshifu. They definitely have Trick Room, so I don't want to bring Torn. Yeah, I could bring the Urshifu, and then that way too, I do have another additional resist to Glacial Lance with the Urshifu. So we might be all right. Ogerpon and Kyurem are both neutral to Glacial Lance, so I'll have to probably use the Terra on one of those two to make sure that I can just resist the Glacial Lance. I mean, double stab on Ivy Cudgel is not bad. Okay, so it is the Ogerpon and the Calyrex into my Ogerpon and Ninetales. I'm going to try to get up this Aurora Veil, which I don't think I'll have a problem with, and I do give the Calyrex a defense boost. That's the only problem with this. I think what I'll do is I'll go for the Ivy Cudgel into the Calyrex. They might just redirect with Follow Me if Calyrex is going for the Trick Room. So, okay. They'll switch out the Calyrex, so I'll get my Aurora Veil up. And it's... Alright, Incineroar is a fine thing to come in here because they do get the attack drop into me, but I don't dislike that. So, if I can get rid of the Incineroar off the field, great. Their Ogerpon is going to go for Terra, so they are going to become a pure water type, so Grassy Glide will do super effective damage to it. Unfortunately, that was Grassy Glide without grassy terrain, so Rillaboom could have been nice there, but it is what it is. But what we'll do here is we'll get a little bit of damage off with the Ivy Cudgel, and we'll also get the Aurora Veil up, so their damage output is going to be a little bit mitigated, and that's still a lot of damage into the... that's a crit, that's why. Thank you, Ogerpon. So, I should be able to take this, no problem. Yeah. I took that, alright. I'm going to Spiky Shield, and I'm going to protect with Ninetales, and then this way we dodge Fake Out. We also negate Parting Shot. And if they want to try to finish off Ogerpon, great. I'm going to get around that as well. So, I don't dislike that. So, what I could do is I could Icy Wind with Ninetales. If Ogerpon goes down, I get Kyurem in. Kyurem can lock itself into Draco Meteor or Blizzard. Blizzard would not be bad to lock into, but I would also have to keep my snow turns in mind because this is the second one already. So Freeze Dry into Ogerpon might not be bad either if I can get a little bit of damage off into this thing. So we could do that. So there's the Fake Out. Oh, thanks, Noelle. Ninetales protected itself from the Fake Out, and yeah, was not expecting that. All right, so let's see. I really don't mind bringing in Urshifu either if Ogerpon goes down. I kind of wish I had U-turn instead of Knockoff. Oh yeah, that's right. I also took Knockoff off and put Follow Me on here. I've been experimenting with my Ogerpon the last little bit. Yeah, alright. So I'm going to go for a little bit of chip damage into their Ogerpon, and I'm going to go for the Icy Wind here with Ninetales. So they're going to withdraw the Incineroar, so that's alright. They're going to preserve Fake Out and Intimidate. And honestly, okay, the Gothitelle might be a little bit of a problem now, because now the Trick Room can definitely come out. But they could also have Fake Out with the Gothitelle, so Ogerpon might need to try to get that off the field. I mean, if they also remove my... Yeah, if they remove my Ogerpon here, I can get either Urshifu or Kyurem in now. And Blizzard would get around the redirection. So, I think Kyurem can come in here. And I don't know if I want to go for the Helping Hand. The Helping Hand might be alright. So, I do have Terra Fire as well, so I can keep that in mind for Fusion Flare. I think I'm going to go for the Helping Hand, and then this way too. Kyurem can at least get a little bit of extra damage off. So, we'll see how that works out. No, if they just Fake Out Kyurem, that'd be annoying, but... no Fake Out. Alright, so... I also don't see any redirection, so at least we do get to connect the Blizzard with both of them. We just straight up knock out Gothitelle. Oh, we picked up the freeze into the Ogerpon. That's great. Alright. So no attack for Ogerpon. Delightful. Now Incineroar could come in here, and if they do, they could go for Fake Out. Now, it's going to be Calyrex instead. So, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pivot Kyurem into Urshifu. And I think as far as Ninetales goes, I think we're going to have to protect this turn here. If Trick Room goes up, Trick Room goes up. I want to keep Ninetales preserved for right now. Because I might just switch Ninetales out into Kyurem, and then that way I have that. So, Calyrex is just going to protect. Ogerpon's going to be frozen this turn. What I can do here is I could just straight up Surging Strikes into the Calyrex slot on the off chance they switch in Incineroar. And I think I can pivot in the Ninetales, or pivot the Ninetales out into Kyurem now. I think that's what I can do. Or I could go for the bonus damage on the Surging Strikes too, which I'm really tempted to do here. And then this way, if Incineroar switches in, Incineroar is going to get the Intimidate drop, but Surging Strikes will bypass that. And the Ogerpon's not going to be doing much right now, so they might even switch the Ogerpon out into the Incineroar. So, it might be alright. I'm kind of curious to see how Urshifu is going to handle the Calyrex if it does some decent damage. So I am kind of curious to see how that matchup goes, because I haven't really had to be in this situation just yet. Ironically, when I was building this team, I originally had Single Strike on the team, so Single Strike would have been really nice right here, but I mean, it is what it is. Alright, so we do a little over a quarter with the 2 hits. So I think that's about a third, all things considering, so that's not bad. I would have preferred it to do a lot more, but I mean, it is what it is. So, what I could do here with Urshifu is I can just go for another Surging Strikes, and I think I'm going to go for a Fusion Flare and aim for the Calyrex with this, because the nice thing here is we do have the Focus Sash on Urshifu. So long as Glacial Lance can't pick up the double KO, we should be alright at the end of the day. Urshifu does have Detect, so we can switch Urshifu out, or rather, we can switch Kyurem out if we need to bring in Ninetales. And oh yeah, we take that comfortably, so we're going to get this damage off into the Calyrex, and we're going to get that Fusion Flare as well, so I don't dislike switching Kyurem out as well to bring in Ninetales and get another move locked in to deal with the Incineroar. So the question is what do I want to bring or put Kyurem into? So we do get to pick up the KO there, and honestly, I have a close combat with Incineroar's name on it, which I am just very eager to go for. I mean, they did go for the Terra, so I could just... It makes more sense to go for the Surging Strikes, to be completely honest. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Detect here, and I'm going to bring in the Ninetales. And then this way, we get the Snow back. Kyurem can then also reset its choice specs. So we do have that. And if we get out of Trick Room, great. We can... we could always just go for Blizzard. The freeze into the Ogerpon is huge. I'm going to be completely honest. It's definitely helping me out. So props to my opponent for having to deal with that. But yeah, I'm just not going to take a Fake Out here with Urshifu, because I feel like, yeah, the Ogerpon does thaw out. So they go for Follow Me. That's fine. And is it... Oh, it's knock off into my Ninetales. Alright, so that's not the worst thing that could have happened there, being completely honest. My Aurora Veil is gone. We have 2 turns of Trick Room left. I'm actually going to bring in Kyurem here, because they could potentially Horn Leech my Urshifu and knock me out, depending on the speed tiers between the 2 of them. So I think what I want to do with Ninetales this upcoming turn, if Ninetales lives, is I would love to get an Icy Wind off for the last turn of Trick Room, and then that way we can potentially... Ninetales does live, so long as Ogerpon doesn't Horn Leech into it. Yeah, they went for Kyurem. Alright, that's fine. This is the last turn of Trick Room here. Now, they might be able to knock out Kyurem, and if they do, that's alright. Because Urshifu can just deal with the two of these. And we do get our our Aurora Veil. So I'm going to Blizzard. And I'm going to go for the Icy Wind on the off chance that Incineroar does have enough firepower to knock out Kyurem at this range. And plus, if Ninetales gets the Icy Wind off into both of these Pokemon, great. Trick Room ends. They're now down a speed stat. Or a speed stage. Urshifu can just come in here and just start doing some big damage. Because I got to get the Ogerpon off the field for the Urshifu. So, that's the big thing here. If we get rid of Ogerpon, great. Urshifu is sitting pretty in the face of that Incineroar. And if we connect this Blizzard, great. That's huge damage. So, it's just knock off into Kyurem. So, there goes my specs. The Ivy Cudgel's coming out here, so that is going to be into Kyurem. Kyurem! 10 HP. Nice. All right, so we pick up the freeze into the Incineroar. Oh, that's nice. Wasn't expecting that, but now my choice specs are gone. I can choose my moves. Which I'm just going to click the Blizzard for the double. We're going to click that. Yeah. So my opponent does forfeit here because Kyurem is the fastest thing on the field thanks to that Icy Wind drop too. So that worked out really nice. Good game to my opponent. All right, we have a Kyogre team with Tornadus, Basculegion, that's cool, Rillaboom, Farigiraf, and Excadrill. Huh. Wonder what the Excadrill does. I wonder. Oh, you know what? Since Farigiraf can set Trick Room, maybe it's a slower Excadrill with Mold Breaker. That would be cool. I'm gonna bring in the Kyurem and the Torn. I really like the idea of bringing Kyurem Torn since we can always go for Snowscape to undo the rain off Kyogre. Kyurem is naturally faster than Kyogre, so unless they go Tailwind right out of the gate, which I mean they very well could. We could always go Freeze Dry into the Kyogre and do some big damage that way. I think I'm going to bring Ogerpon in the back, and I think I'm going to bring Rillaboom as... Ooh, you know what? I want to bring Torn Ogerpon first, Kyurem in the back, and then this way, if they don't lead Farigiraf, I can always switch in Rillaboom to turn on my Grassy Terrain and Grassy Glide. I really like that. I really like that a lot. And Rillaboom Ogerpon is going to be a really nice means of dealing with the Kyogre. So we could potentially do that. If they want to Water Spout me, great. I can get some big damage off into that Kyogre. And if they lead Farigiraf, what I could do instead is I could always just go for Snowscape and undo Rain if Kyogre is next to them. So it's Tornadus and Kyogre. Great. I really like the idea of going for the Grassy Terrain and the Grassy Glide in Kyogre. I also really like the idea of going for Snowscape. So I'm kind of torn on what I want to do. Get it? I'm torn. I think I'm going to bring in the Rillaboom. And I think I'm going to Grassy Glide into Kyogre. I don't necessarily think I need my Terra off of... I don't think I necessarily need my Terra off of the Kyurem. So I'm going to go Terra Fire. And then this way I'm going to drop my Flying weakness. Now I am going to become weak to Water, ironically enough. But this is going to be doing some major damage to the Kyogre if it's not a straight up knockout. So we don't see a Terra off of the Kyogre yet. So that's very promising. So, if they Tailwind Water Spout, great. I have priority with Grassy Glide now. And I mean, we would have seen a switch by now before the Terra, so Fraygraph isn't coming in here, which is really nice. Now, my opponent is going to Terra their Kyogre, so if it's Grass, nah, that's not good for me. Terra Ghost, alright, so this is still going to do a lot of damage to the Kyogre, which I am very happy about. There's a Tailwind, but I'm going to do some major damage here. So, we do get to hit the Grassy Glide for more than half of their HP. And then went for Origin Pulse. Nice! And Ogerpon dodges. So, Rillaboom is going to eat that. Which I'm okay with. I'm going to click Knock Off into the Kyogre slot in case Farigiraf switches in. And I'm going to Spiky Shield with Ogerpon this turn. Alright, they're just going to protect with the Kyogre instead, so I'm alright with that. We're going to protect Ogerpon. And next turn I can potentially Grassy Glide. So, let's see here. Rillaboom's going to live that as well. That's helpful. That is very helpful. Alright. What I want to do is I think I want Rillaboom to go down here so that I can bring in my Torn and get this rain off the field. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because we just saw the Protect off the Kyogre, I think I'm going to Grassy Glide and Knock Off. So Torn is going to withdraw, so this is going to be Farigiraf now coming in. So we can get the Snowscape off. Blizzard's going to be very nice. I am going to eat the Origin Pulse, though. Unfortunately, that's enough to... I mean, I would have to be very deluded to believe that Ogerpon can live that. But what I can do now is I can go Blizzard with Kyurem. And I can go Snowscape on my Tornadus. And this way, if they go for Trick Room, not the worst thing imaginable. They still have one turn of Tailwind. So, Kyurem is going to have some major damage working in its favor for the Blizzard, since Kyogre no longer resists. And, if they are Origin Pulse and, like, locked into it, great. Origin Pulse is not 100% accurate, so we do have that working in our favor. And we're going to set that Snowscape up with the Tornadus. We're going to get rid of the rain, so any modifier to the water type attacks as well is just going to be gone. So I'm going to take an Ice Beam off of Kyogre. And yeah, so it's now Kyurem against 4 different Pokemon. Okay, Kyurem. Bye, Kyogre. Alright. So, we almost took out the Farigiraf. That's very handy. Here comes a Hyper Voice, which that's a lot of damage off that Farigiraf, too. Yeah, okay. The nice thing here is Kyurem was able to outspeed. So, if Tornadus comes in here, I can see a Tailwind coming up, which is great, because I can Blizzard. Yeah, I can do that. I wonder what the last Pokemon is, if it's Rillaboom. I need it to be Rillaboom. If it's Excadrill, that's really bad for Kyurem, but here comes the Tailwind. I did just outspeed their Farigiraf with the Blizzard, so we're going to pick up both of them right there. Which is good, because the Farigiraf did almost half of my HP and got a special attack boost after that. So I'm glad to get that off the field. And just like that, Kyurem has just taken out 3 different Pokemon. Which is nice. If it's Rillaboom, I'm in an okay-ish position, because I will... Oh, it's Basculegion. Alright. Basculegion's last respects is going to hurt. Yeah. I did just fully power up that. Phantom Force. Okay, okay. They are faster than me because of the Tailwind, so I might be alright to live this, because it's not the, Okay. I don't mind the amount of damage I just took there. We're going to land this Blizzard. Not enough to KO, but the nice thing here is if it's Phantom Force again, I should be able to live another one. Because I do have the Snow giving me a defense boost. This might be my last turn of Snow, actually. I might not live this, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, and Blizzard can now miss. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Oh. Okay, so I'm now faster than them, which means I miss another Blizzard. And they do pick me up for the knockout there. So, that is really unfortunate. The Snow might have kept me alive there, but, I mean, I'm okay with that. Kyurem started... You can see how much raw damage output Kyurem has there. Like, we took out the Kyogre. We almost took out the Farigiraf, which Farigiraf is pretty bulky to begin with. And then we did a lot of damage to the Basculegion, so... Yeah. I mean, Torn's kind of a given with the super effective flying type damage there. Now, what faked me out there was the fact, too, that they went for the Protect on Kyogre to stop the Grassy Glide, and then switched in for Farigiraf the following turn, which I probably should have saw that coming and maybe tried to do something else instead, like maybe Grassy Glide with the weakened Rillaboom and then get Ogerpon out. Like, I maybe should have did that instead, but anyways, that's enough speculation on that. Good game to my opponent. Alright, we have Zamazenta, Galarian Moltres, Rillaboom, Latios, Chenpao, and Pelipper. Alright, so Kyurem might be good. Kyurem might be really good here. I'm not going to lie, I played this team earlier today, so I do have to be really careful with that Moltres as well. But I think what I want to do is I would like to bring Torn and maybe Ogerpon. I want to bring Kyurem in the back and just have some big damage in my back pocket if needed. And the nice thing here, too, is Torn does have the Snowscape, so if they lead Pelipper, I can get rid of the rain right away, which would be really nice. Yeah, that might be good. And then Rillaboom and Knockoff might be needed as well. Knockoff could be really good for that Moltres, depending on what its item is. I played the team earlier, but I can't remember what the item is. So, anyways, yeah. Maybe we'll do that. Surging Strike's off Urshifu. I mean, this team doesn't really look like it's too concerned about the Urshifu, so maybe I'll bring the Ninetales in the back instead, and maybe I get lucky. Maybe they bring Rillaboom. And if they do bring Rillaboom, that's great, because then they can give me the grassy terrain, so I don't dislike that. I really don't dislike that at all. And if it's Tailwind off the Moltres, what I could potentially do is I could try to get Tailwind up on a second turn. So it's going to be Chenpao Pelipper. So I don't mind Ogerpon coming in here. I don't want to give the Chenpao a defense boost, though. Yeah, I'd rather not do that. But the rain is in the way, so I'm going to click Snowscape here. And I think I'm going to click the Ivy Cudgel into the Chenpao. They're probably not expecting the Snowscape off of Torn. And if they are, I mean, that's really good on their end. But Snowscape's one of those moves that I don't think a lot of people see often on Thorn. So it should be a little bit spicy. So we will get rid of the 100% accuracy on Hurricane as well. And if they didn't go for Wide Guard, otherwise we would have seen that first. So we'll get the Snow off. Ivy Cudgel is going to do some big damage. And I am going to lose Torn here, but hopefully I bring this Chenpao down to a Sash. And then that way it's 1 HP, and it's not a quite a free switch in for my opponent. And if it's a straight up knockout, I mean, it's not. But if it was a straight up knockout, that would have been really handy as well. So They're going to go for Hurricane. They're going to miss because we now have Snow. I do have to be careful because I'm slower than Chen Pao as well. So Kyurem might be okay with Freeze Dry for that Pelipper. Or I could just straight hard switch into Ninetales. I'm going to go for Freeze Dry into the Pelipper, and I'm going to... It would be really nice if they had Rillaboom in the back, because then I could just turn on the priority, but I don't think they do. We'll go for another Ivy Cudgel into the Chen Pao. So there is the Sacred Sword into Kyurem, which Kyurem is going to take. Ogerpon's going to get rid of Chen Pao, which means my opponent is going to get 2 Pokemon switching in, since the Pelipper ended up, or rather, the Chen Pao revealed it had the Focus Sash, so the Pelipper is going to just eat this Freeze Dry, which is going to be huge. So I do like that. Ninetales switching in for Kyurem might be good. And then that way I can undo Freeze Dry. So Latios is going to come in. And Zamazenta is going to come in as well. Depending on Tailwind turns, I kind of want to just keep Kyurem in. We have 3 turns of Snow. Oh, they don't have Tailwind at all. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I would love to get Ninetales in. Latios hard walls my Ogerpon, so I think I'm just going to try to Ivy Cudgel to Zamazenta. Because what I would love to do, in theory, is get this Ninetales in. If they go for Ogerpon, great. I can go for Icy Wind off of my Ninetales and get a speed drop into them. Zamazenta's Terra is going to reveal Terra Ghost. Alright, so... I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. Latios is the one to protect. Alright, so... I'm going to get some damage off to Zamazenta in the bare minimum, which is great. Now, they might have just went Heavy Slam into the Kyurem slot, and if they did, that's really unfortunate. Yeah, they did. Alright, so I do lose Ninetales. But at least Kyurem gets to switch its attacking move. Now, if they go for Wide Guard off of Zamazenta, that's really bad for Ogerpon, because then Ogerpon has to deal with the Zamazenta, and the Kyurem's probably getting taken out. So I think what I might have to do is I might actually have to go for a Draco Meteor into the Latios, and I think Ogerpon goes for a Ivy Cudgel into Zamazenta here. We see no Wide Guard and no Protect, so depending on Latios versus Kyurem here, we might be all right. Yeah, we're doing really good here, because now we just can focus on the Zamazenta. Zamazenta is neutral to the Draco Meteor, so if they go for the Ogerpon, which they're not, Kyurem's going to live that as well. So we do have Draco Meteor with a boost from the choice specs, and we do have the Ivy Cudgel. So we do pick up the win that way. So that works out relatively nice. It kind of helps that I did end up running into this while I was trying to film the video. So I think that worked out really nice. And if I remember correctly, Zamazenta did just win the Stockholm Regionals. I didn't watch the regional yet. So for all I know, that might have actually been the team or one of the top teams in that regional. So I'll have to look into that afterwards too and just get a little bit more information out, because I do really like the Zamazenta crown. Anyways, good game to my opponent. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out this Kyurem White Ninetales team in action. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and be sure to let me know what you think of the team down in the comments section below. I could definitely use the advice on tweaking it around a little bit. So, as far as the matches went, we went 2-1. We played 3 really good games. We played up against a Calyrex Ice Rider team. We played up against a Kyogre team. And we played a Zamazenta team. And Kyurem and Ogerpon just had a field day with that Zamazenta, which I am very happy about. Because when you look at it, Zamazenta, both of its stabs are super effective against Kyurem. So the fact that my opponent went for the Terra Ghost on that Zamazenta and Ogerpon and Kyurem were just able to start wailing on that thing, delightful. Ogerpon especially just did what it needed to do with the Terra Fire boosted Ivy Cudgels, and Kyurem just came in and just removed the Latios. Ogerpon did really good work today, and I'm very happy about it. In the Calyrex Ice Rider matchup too, we also picked up the freeze not once but twice. We froze my opponent's Ogerpon Wellspring with a Blizzard, and we also got to pick up a freeze into their Incineroar after, and Kyurem just took so much damage and just held right on. So I am very happy with how the Aurora Veil Kyurem played out. And then in the Kyogre matchup, Kyurem started to spin things around for me because I was down to 1 Pokemon and my opponent still had 4, and we just turned it around and just knocked out 3 of them. We did end up losing that game to Basculegion, and unfortunately the Aurora Veil and the Snow, well, I don't even think I got the Aurora Veil in that game, but unfortunately the Snow just wore off and my opponent's Tailwind did as well, so I ended up missing a few Blizzards because of Phantom Force, but we did a considerable amount of damage to that Basculegion, so I'm fairly happy with that as well. I mean, I cannot stress it enough. We took out the Kyogre with a Blizzard. We almost took out their Farigiraf with 1 shot. And then we picked off both the Farigiraf and the Torn the following turn with a Blizzard. And the amount of damage done to Basculegion was fairly respectable at the end of the day. And that's mainly it. You guys watched the battles. If you made it to this point, you know what happened. Anyways, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.